athlete, the speed to be able to carry these vertical routes without any issues. He's going to get a handful of them just purely off of the maniacal effort that he plays with, Charles.
So you got to get this thing right. The guy's got to be great off the field. He's got to be great in your locker room. He's going to help you set the culture for the future.
It's that time once again, you guys. The NFL draft is quickly approaching. Now, I've looked at the highlights, I've looked at the tape, I've gone over my notes, and I've selected the 5 guys who I think had strong enough college careers to be in a one and done in the NFL draft. Now, I've always said that you can never have enough pass rushers on your roster. And in this draft class, I believe these 2 guys will most definitely go in the first round. Starting off with Jonah Elliss out of Utah, 6'2", 246-pound defensive end. This kid has a high motor. He basically just lived in the backfield terrorizing quarterbacks. If he didn't get the sack, he made sure that the quarterback knew he was there. And it actually turns out that Jonah Elliss is the son of Luther Ellis, a former NFL player, 10 years playing for the Lions and the Broncos, a former first-round pick himself, going 20th overall in 1995 by the Lions. And he actually became a defensive tackles coach at the school that his son was playing. So I'm hoping and thinking that Jonah picked up a few things from his dad to transition into the pros. He has a good repertoire of using speed and power and has a really good spin move to get to the quarterback. And if I'm a team that already has a good pass rusher on one side, I would be seriously considering picking up this guy to put him on the other side to maybe develop a little bit more and to take off pressure from the other guy until he becomes a serious threat himself. Now, he did suffer an injury his last season of college, so that might hurt his stock a little bit, but it's a high ceiling for this guy. I like what I see on tape from him. And like I said, all he needs is space and opportunity to get out there and prove himself. And once he does get that opportunity, I think he'll be very valuable to any team that picks him up.
And his fellow pass rusher out of Penn State, Damian, a.k.a. Chop Robinson, ain't no scrub either. Coming in at 6'3", 254 pounds, Robinson, who started off at Maryland but then later transferred to Penn State to get more playing time, is, to be quite honest, my favorite pass rusher in this year's draft. And he's a genuine quarterback's nightmare coming off the edge. He stays in the backfield, he's great in the run game, and has tremendous playmaking ability. He knows how to get low and avoid blocks from the offensive lineman to get to the quarterback and disrupt plays, which does absolutely nothing but make him dangerous. And even with the NFL tripping on defensive ruling and plays and penalties and what's legal and not for a defender in this league, it still pays dividends to get a guy like this and draft him and have him on your side to go QB hunting. Seriously, the NFL need to stop tripping on these ridiculous defensive rules. And speaking of defense, my next guy is I'm staying on the defensive side of the ball. I got a lot of defensive players this year. I don't know what to tell you. And I hope I'm not going to butcher. I'm going to say his name the best way I can. Maurice Fowl. I know I messed that up. I apologize, bro. Linebacker out of Notre Dame. 6'2", 234 pounds. And I know what you're thinking. How much of those pounds come from all of that hair? I'm going to tell you right now, I have no idea. Anyway, this guy really stood out to me. He has a great football IQ, is good at taking on blocks, and, he can be taught. Like, I've seen the knocks on him about not being a natural leader linebacker as much as, some certain guys have been in the NFL. But from what I've seen and how his teammates treat him and how he treats his teammates, I think he can grow into that and becoming a leader for the defensive side of the ball. He ain't shy to hit nobody, and he ain't shy to go and get the ball. And since he has a high IQ as far as football goes, he gets the right coach. He can get him to see things he hasn't seen before when he gets to the next level, and may even be an even more dominant linebacker than folk would like to give him credit for. I know everybody likes looking at the combine and getting an idea, but me personally, I don't really pay too much attention to the combine. I look at what I see on tape. What I see on tape, this boy's going to be running like his head's caught on fire on every single play. And I'm not going to lie, ain't no sense in doing so. This guy is probably my favorite player coming out of the draft this year, Cooper DeJean, defensive back out of Iowa, 6'1", 208 pounds. Now, why is he my favorite player? I'll tell you. One, plays defense. I don't know if y'all know this, but that's my favorite side of the ball. Great hands and a return specialist. Now, why is that such a big deal? Because a guy like that who's versatile and has a mentality, especially when he's on the defensive side of the ball, being a DB, he gives me an idea. He reminds me of kind of, sort of, now, listen to what I'm saying right now. He reminds me of Ed Reed-esque type of ball skills, because anytime the ball is in his hands, just like Ed Reed, He's trying to score. And honestly, in the NFL these days, with them doing so much to protect the quarterback and receivers, you need a DB to have hands and the instincts to know when to go get it. Now, in college, this guy was a unanimous All-American in 2023 and a 2-time first-team All-Big Ten. What else do you need? As far as I'm concerned, he's a steal for anybody. If he drops past number 10, it is nothing but a crime. And all those teams that passed up on him, they're going to pay for it in the long run. And when I'm doing my top 5s for the draft, I'm always going to pick an offensive lineman. I'm just going to do it. I'm always going to show those boys in the trenches love, man. And I'm picking the guy coming out of Georgia, Amaris Mims, tackle, 6'7", 340 pounds. And when I think of this guy and I watch this guy, one word comes to mind: monster. He gets his hands on anybody on the defensive side of the ball, defending the quarterback, running back, receiver, whoever's behind him. He gonna grab those boys and put them on lockdown. If he can stay healthy, he's a day one starter. Ain't no question about it. And what's wrong with drafting a guy that's a 2-time college football national champion? He can run block, pass block, and he can go up to the second level and get them DBs out of the way, making them wish they were someplace else other than where they were. Too many teams need tackles, and I'm hearing way too many teams that are interested in this guy. There's no reason for me to think that this guy is going to make it past the first round. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Somebody's going to call his name. The closer the draft gets, the more excited I get. No matter when these guys are selected, they, along with all the other guys that are going to be drafted in this year's draft, going to have an opportunity of a lifetime, and that's to leave their mark in the NFL. The fun part is you don't know who's going to go where or when. But I do know one thing. If I'm a GM and I'm trying to build a great team, I'm looking at all 5 of these guys, and I'm getting at least one of them.
Thank you for watching this video. By all means, like, share, and leave a comment. And if you want to see more content, go ahead and push the subscribe and notification button for videos already up and for the ones to come.